Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm dropping down on a big school of crappies right now, and today we're going to be going over my top 7 presentations for basin crappies. I'm going to kind of go from more aggressive baits down to more finesse presentations to catch these crappies in the basin, just like that one. And we'll cover some hard baits, we'll cover some soft baits, but we're going to start with number 1, which is this bait right here that I just got this crappie with. So stay tuned, we're gonna have a lot of fun today, catch some fish, and you're gonna learn some stuff. Let's go. Alright guys, one of my absolute favorites for aggressive crappies right here, and that is the Eurotackle Z-Viber. It's a little vibrating bait, and any small vibrating bait will work, but I've absolutely had great luck with the Eurotackle Z-Viber. This is my go-to presentation, either in the 16th ounce or the 8th ounce for aggressive crappies. We're going to drop it down above the school right here and see if we can't get a fish to rip up out of the school and smoke it. You always want to fish these above the school, just like that. This is going to catch the biggest, most aggressive fish in the school most of the time, and it's a great choice for bigger fish and picking bigger fish out of the school. So there we go, not a bad fish right there, and he smoked that thing. As soon as it got down towards the school, he rocketed it up out of there and ate it. And those bigger, more aggressive fish are going to do that with these vibrating baits. Alright guys, the second lure I really like for basin crappies is the Tikka Flash. This one comes in a few different sizes, and I like the bigger sizes, of course, for basin crappies because definitely drop a little bit faster. Here comes one. There we go. Just like that. No live bait needed. Gets down there quick. Got a good action, good flash to it. You can crank a bunch of crappies on that little bait right there in a hurry, and especially when they're aggressive. There we go, fish on. Feels nice. Oh yeah, nice crappie. Nice crappie, another one on the Tikka Flash here. And that one just came up and inhaled it. I mean, he choked that thing. Absolutely choked that thing. That's a nice fish right there. Nothing wrong with that. Alright, coming in at a close third is the glide bait. So this one in particular is a Eurotackle Z-Darter version 2. I also like the Tikka minnow. Basically, this bait doesn't have any kind of triggering mechanism as far as like a flash or any kind of feathers on it, but the profile itself and the darting action really serve as the trigger. It just looks like a minnow darting back and forth, and when those fish are really wanting to chase something down, it's a really good presentation. I like anything from a 1/16 ounce to about a 1/4 ounce, and depending on how aggressive the fish are, I'll kind of change back and forth. But for crappies, I just like a couple little hops with this. I don't like to really aggressively jig it. Just a little hop here, a little hop there, and then as they chase it, just sort of pound it in their face, let them chase it upwards. There we go, this one's pretty hot. Wham, there we go. Just see that? I just pounded it in place, basically just making it kind of swim in a circle. And this is a great bait for aggressive crappies as well. Yeah, here's a nice one. Perfect. Super good hookup ratios on these glide baits too. You can see I got all the trebles in that crappie, and that's a nice, really nice presentation for something a little bit different, more of a presentation that's going to swim, and when fish are wanting to chase that bait down, that's a great option. That's number 3, guys, and again, I will leave a link in the description for all these baits, so make sure you check them out there. If you purchase them through the links, I get a little commission, and that really helps out the channel. So let's keep moving on to number 4. All right, number 4, guys, and this is getting into the pretty finesse presentations. That is some sort of vertical spoon. So most of these spoons don't really have a lot of flutter to them. They're pretty much straight up and down. My favorite 2 would be the Eurotackle T-Flasher and the clam pinhead minnow and jointed pinhead minnow. The T-Flasher has feathers, the pinhead minnow has a flutter blade, And again, that's exactly what you want to use, something that you don't have to tip with live bait, but something that has a little triggering action like that feather or that blade on there. And you can keep catching fish. You don't have to worry about rebaiting, just like that. That's a perfect little bait. It's a little bit more finessey than some of the horizontal baits because they really only see that profile from below and that little blade flicker in there, but it gets down there quick. You can fish it fast and you don't need live bait with it. So that's kind of that mid-range perfect bait for fishing these basin crappies. There we go. Fish on again. Doesn't take long with these pinhead minnows and those T-flashers to get back down there when the school is under you and keep catching fish. So that's a perfect little bait. One of my all-time favorites for basin crappies for sure right there. Alright guys, let's get into the finessey stuff now. When the crappies start to turn off and you got a few fish around but they're not really biting, you want to start to downsize. And this is a great option. That's a tungsten and plastic. This is the clam drop kick jig with a Euro tackle, zooplankton or plankton on the back. And this is a really deadly combination out here. The drop kick is a great jig for sonar return. It's got a really good signal on it with that square top. And the plankton is exactly what these fish are eating out here in the basin. So I'm going to drop this down on top of this school. They're going to see it as zooplankton, which is what they've already been eating. And I should have a fish on in a matter of probably seconds here. There we go, fish on. And this is what you want to use before you have to go all the way to live bait. The reason is this is going to hold up a lot better than live bait will, and you can catch fish after fish after fish without having to rebait. That's super important when you're on a school of fish in the basin and you're really trying to keep on them and get back down there. Like right now, I don't have to worry about rebaiting and getting this down. I can just send it straight down right away and get back on those fish, catch a couple more before they move on. So super efficient way to fish crappies when they're finicky in the basin. Now I am going to catch one here within seconds again because I didn't have to mess around. The fish are still there, and bam, fish on just like that. And again, lots of plastics you can use. You don't have to use the plankton, but I will link it below because I've had really good luck with it. And as you can see, it's definitely working today. Alright guys, sixth option is just a tungsten jig with a couple spikes on it. I really like this duckbill jig by Clam. Again, I'll leave a link in the description for that. But it's a really heavy jig and it fishes horizontal, which I like for basin crappies. And it works really well with live bait. It's got a small tail hook on it. Put a couple spikes on that tail hook and you're in business. There we go. Like I said, basically any time you've got crappies in the basin and they're a little bit more hesitant to bite, throw on a tungsten with a couple of spikes and you're going to start catching them. Works almost every time, any place, anywhere. It's a little bit slower presentation, of course, to get down there, but if you just want to catch fish that don't seem to want to bite, it's definitely the way to go. Alright guys, before we get into number 7, I wanted to go over a couple things really quick. Number 1, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click like on this video. There's lots more videos like this one and lots more coming, so thanks again. And if you're going to purchase any products that you see in this video, make sure you purchase them through the links below in the description because that really helps the channel as well. The second thing I wanted to mention is what rods I'm using for these baits. Number 1 is my finesse bait rod, and I've been using this for several years. This is the St. Croix Tundra. It's a 34-inch light extra fast, and it's got a super fast tip on it and a good backbone. It's a great little jig rod for tungsten jigs and smaller baits. The second one I'm using is the St. Croix Scandic Ice. This is a SKAS 28 medium light. So this is a 28-inch medium light rod, and it's got a little bit more of a parabolic action to it and a little bit stiffer for working those little bit bigger, faster, aggressive baits. And then both of these I have the Clam Spooler Elite reels on, which basically are the only panfish reels I really use anymore. they're just super simple and super awesome reels. So with that, let's get into number 7. All right guys, like I promised, this is kind of my secret weapon when it comes to basin crappie fishing, and that is a tungsten jig with a clam silky on the back. And I've trimmed just one side of the silky down, so it's basically just like a hair jig. And then I put billy rub on the head of it only, because you don't want to get the billy rub on those silky feathers in the back, because that's going to hamper the action. This bait has super breathy tentacles, those little silkies waving in the back. It's got the scent from the billy rub, and yet it's super durable, so I don't have to worry about rebaiting this with live bait. But in my opinion, it's just as good, if not better, as far as attracting fish and getting them to bite. So this is a really awesome combination for catching a bunch of fish when they're finicky and not having to worry about rebaiting all the time. And you can just fish much faster, much more efficient, and it's a great option for targeting these basin crappies and staying on them. So again, thanks for watching guys. Get hooked up. We'll see you next time.